Everyone in the drama club had been waiting for the day of the audition. Flyers had been posted in every hallway, and whispers about who would land the lead role filled the classrooms and cafeteria. The school play wasn't just a performance, it was a moment to shine, a moment to be remembered. And for Mia, it was supposed to be her moment. She had dreamed of standing center stage, the spotlight warming her face, the audience silent in anticipation of her first word. Mia wasn't the most popular student, nor the loudest, but when she acted, something happened. She felt alive, connected, like she could finally express everything she struggled to say in real life. Theater was her escape. It was her truth. For weeks, she rehearsed in front of her mirror, sometimes even whispering lines to herself during lunch breaks or while walking to school. She knew the script backward. She had even visualized herself bowing at the end of the show, her parents cheering in the audience. But the day of the audition, everything went wrong. It started with the storm the night before. Her room had flooded, slightly because of a leaky window, soaking her script. She stayed up drying the pages one by one with her hairdryer. Then that morning, she missed the bus. She arrived late and soaked from the drizzle, her clothes clinging to her skin. Her heart thumped so hard it almost drowned out everything else. Still, she tried to stay calm. She sat in the waiting room, among dozens of students, each flipping through scripts and whispering lines. Some had professional headshots. Others had already been in school productions. Mia clutched her wrinkled pages, trying to ignore the tightness in her throat. When her name was finally called, she walked in, legs trembling. The room felt 10 degrees colder. The drama teacher, Ms. Wallace, sat behind a table with 3 other staff members, all stern-faced and silent. Mia stood under the stage lights, blinking hard, feeling them pierce her skin. She began her monologue, but her voice cracked. She stumbled over a word, then another. Her hands shook. Halfway through, she lost her place entirely. There was a long silence. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Ms. Wallace nodded politely. "Thank you, Mia. Next, please." Mia stepped down, blinking back tears. She didn't remember walking out of the room. All she knew was the sinking feeling in her chest. It was over. Her one chance. Gone. She went home early that day, locked her door, buried her face in her pillow and let herself cry. She wasn't angry at anyone, just disappointed in herself. She had wanted it so badly, prepared so much, but when it mattered most, she'd frozen. The next day, the cast list was posted on the drama board. Mia walked past it slowly, not wanting to look but also unable to resist. The lead female role? It had gone to Amanda Ruiz, a senior with a beautiful voice and years of experience. No surprise. Amanda was talented, confident, and knew how to command attention. Mia scanned the rest of the list. Her name was there, but not as a lead, not even as a supporting character. She was listed as stage crew. Her heart sank again. Stage crew? After all that? She thought about quitting, thought about walking up to Ms. Wallace and politely turning down the offer. But then, she didn't. Something inside her, maybe pride, maybe stubbornness, told her to stay. "If I can't be on the stage," she whispered to herself, "I'll help make it better for the ones who are." And so, she showed up every single day. While others practiced lines and danced through rehearsals, Mia painted sets, carried props, tested lights, and sewed costumes. No one really noticed her, but she was always there, working late, fixing what broke, organizing what others left behind. She started to learn things she never expected to love, like how the right lighting could change the mood of a scene, how tiny details in costume design could add layers to a character, and how being behind the curtain didn't make her any less a part of the magic. At first, the actors didn't pay her much attention, but slowly, they began to appreciate her. Amanda would thank her after rehearsals. Some of the others even asked for her input on stage direction or how a scene looked from the wings. And then, a week before opening night, disaster struck. The girl who had been cast as the comic relief, Sarah, who played a pivotal side character, broke her ankle during dance rehearsal. Everyone panicked. Ms. Wallace scrambled for a replacement. There was no understudy. "We can cut the role," someone suggested. "No," Ms. Wallace said, pacing. "The show won't work without her. She's in 4 scenes. That's when someone, half-jokingly, pointed toward Mia. What about her? She knows the play better than anyone. Ms. Wallace looked at her. Mia, you think you can do it? Mia froze. Her heart thumped again. I don't know. You've been here every day, Ms. Wallace said gently. You've probably memorized more than you realize. Everyone turned to look at her. For a split second, the same fear that overtook her during auditions crept back. But this time, something pushed through it. She took a breath. I'll try. What followed was a whirlwind. She was given a costume, lines to study, scenes to block. Amanda and the rest of the cast helped her rehearse. Everyone rallied behind her, encouraging her, supporting her. Mia stayed up late memorizing, practiced in front of mirrors again. And this time, she didn't let fear define her. The night of the first performance arrived. The auditorium buzzed with students, parents, and teachers. Mia stood backstage, her heart pounding louder than the applause. She looked down at her hands. They weren't shaking. Not this time. Then her cue came. She stepped out onto the stage. And this time, she didn't stumble. She spoke her first line with clarity. The audience laughed at her timing. She moved naturally, hit her marks, and reacted with authenticity. The girl who had once choked in front of 4 judges now stood before hundreds, holding their attention. She wasn't the lead. She didn't steal the spotlight, but she stole hearts. After the curtain fell, the audience erupted in cheers. People congratulated Amanda, of course, but they also came up to Mia. Some teachers, even a few strangers. You were brilliant, one parent said. You saved the show, a fellow student added. And the cast? They hugged her tight. Amanda, beaming, whispered, You were the heart of the show. Ms. Wallace later pulled her aside. You failed the audition, she said with a small smile, but you earned your place. Not just on stage, but in this family. Mia's eyes shimmered. For once, she didn't need to say anything. She just smiled. The days following the performance felt surreal. Everywhere Mia went, hallways, the cafeteria, even the library, someone stopped her to say how much they enjoyed the show. A few classmates who had never spoken to her before told her how surprised they were. Not because they didn't think she was capable, but because she had stepped in with such short notice and made it look effortless. But Mia knew the truth. It wasn't effortless. It had taken all her courage, all her energy, and all those silent nights behind the scenes to become someone who could stand on that stage. The applause was wonderful. Yes, but what mattered most to her was something deeper. She had done it, not because she wanted to prove anything to others, but because she refused to let failure define her. The second and third nights of the show ran even smoother. Her confidence grew with each performance, and so did the cast's bond. The team worked like a well-oiled machine. Every light cue, every costume change, every line flowed with precision and passion. Backstage, Mia became the glue that held everyone together. She helped with wardrobe malfunctions, gave last-minute pep talks, and even encouraged a fellow cast member who froze during one scene. Her presence was calming, steady, and kind. Ms. Wallace noticed. On closing night, after the final curtain fell and the audience gave their last standing ovation, the cast and crew gathered backstage for a final group photo and a few words from the director. Ms. Wallace clapped her hands to get everyone's attention. I want to thank each and every one of you for your dedication, she began. This was one of the strongest productions we've ever had. You all showed what it means to be a team. Then she turned to Mia. And I want to say something special about someone who didn't just step in, she stepped up. Mia, you reminded all of us that this stage belongs to more than just those who audition well. It belongs to those who never stop showing up. The room erupted in applause. Mia blushed, smiling through the tears forming in her eyes. After the show, when everyone was packing up props and taking down the set, Amanda walked over and handed Mia a small gift. It was a simple keychain, shaped like a tiny spotlight. You may not have started under the lights, Amanda said, but you lit up the whole stage. Mia held the keychain tightly in her palm. Thank you, she said softly, for believing in me. Amanda smiled. You earned it. In the days that followed, the buzz from the play slowly faded. School returned to normal. Posters were taken down. Scripts and costumes were boxed and stored. But something in Mia had changed. She walked the halls with her head a little higher. She raised her hand in class more often. She joined conversations without hesitating. She had found her voice. A few weeks later, Ms. Wallace posted a notice for the next drama event, a student-written one-act play competition. Students were invited to submit original scripts for a chance to have them produced by the drama department. Mia stared at the poster, unsure. Could she write something? She wasn't sure. But then again, she hadn't been sure she could act on stage either, and look how that turned out. So she sat down that weekend and began to write. Not something grand or dramatic, but something honest about a quiet girl who thought her voice didn't matter until she realized that the backstage could be just as powerful as the spotlight. It was raw, real, and full of moments only someone like her could understand. When she submitted the script, she didn't expect anything. But a week later, Ms. Wallace pulled her aside with a proud smile. Mia, we're producing your play. You'll get to cast it, direct it, and see your story come to life. Mia's mouth fell open. Wait, me? Direct? Ms. Wallace nodded. Who better than the one who lived it? The next few weeks were a blur. Casting actors, blocking scenes, designing sets. This time, she wasn't just part of the crew or filling in, she was the one leading. And while it came with pressure, she handled it with grace. On opening night of the one-act plays, her story was the final performance. And when the curtain rose, Mia sat in the audience, hand clasped over her heart. She watched her words echo from the stage, watched the audience laugh, nod, and lean in with interest. Watched the actors embody emotions she had once been too afraid to speak aloud. It wasn't just a play, it was her journey, told in a way she never thought possible. After the show, a younger student approached her. Did you really write that? The girl asked. Wide-eyed, Mia nodded. It made me cry. The girl whispered. I feel like that sometimes, like I'm invisible. Mia knelt so she could meet her eyes. You're not invisible, she said. Sometimes it just takes time to find the right stage. The girl smiled shyly and ran off to join her friends. That moment stayed with Mia. More than the applause, more than the recognition, it was knowing that her story had touched someone else. By the end of the school year, Mia had been invited to join the advanced drama class. She became known as both a dependable crew member and a rising actor. She never did become the star in the traditional sense, but it didn't matter, because she had learned something more valuable. That failure wasn't the end. That the stage didn't belong to the loudest or the most polished, but to those brave enough to keep showing up. That stealing the show didn't always mean standing in the spotlight. It sometimes meant lifting others up, stepping in when no one else could, and letting your quiet strength speak louder than words. And as for that girl who once choked during auditions, she was now a storyteller, a leader, a light. So if you've ever failed, if you've ever been overlooked, embarrassed, or told you weren't good enough, remember Mia. Remember that sometimes failing the audition is exactly what you need to steal the show in a way no one saw coming.